Good afternoon and welcome to the Pittsburgh City Council budget hearing for the line item vote for the 2026 reopening of the operating budgets. I am Councilperson Erica Strasburger and I chair the Committee on Finance and Law. And for this hearing, we will be going over each of the amendments sent over by the mayor and council to determine what amendments will be voted on during next week's standing committees meeting. And just before we get started, I wanted to walk everyone through more specifically what we will be doing. So, and I want to make sure we're on the same page. It's fairly uncommon for the city to amend its operating budget after the first week of February. And in fact, after the first week of February, council cannot reopen the budget except with the approval of the mayor. Normally, the mayor submits the budget to council on the second Monday in November, as we know, and council proceeds to hold public budget hearings with every department and agency that receives appropriations. City Council then holds a test vote called a line item vote, where council reviews any amendments to the mayor's budget proposal in a public meeting and generally gives a sense of which amendments council favors and which amendments council may not favor. So that's this hearing right now. Council then holds its required tax, budget, and citizen participation public hearing, which we will hold next Tuesday, before formally voting on the amendments to the proposal and ultimately then, in a third vote, passing finally the annual budget. Mid-year reopeners of the budget are uncommon. The most recent instance was in 2020 during the early part of the pandemic, where council needed to move nearly $120 million from the fund balance to the operating budget to account for massive decreases in earned income and real estate tax revenues caused by the pandemic and the shutdowns. Mayor O'Connor has requested that the budget be reopened to properly account for obligations the city reasonably anticipates to incur, but which were not fully budgeted for in December. The mayor and city council have made the requested amendments public. As is often the case, the budget requires further amendments prior to passage. The city's home rule charter requires council to hold a public hearing before final passage of any legislation dealing with a budget, appropriations, or salary matters. So the Sunshine Act requires council to give the public notice of the amendments prior to the public hearing so that the public is equipped with the information needed to advocate for their preferences. To accommodate both requirements in the budget reopener, the amended budget was submitted to council last week, formally introduced and made public. Some of those amendments needed to be amended, so today, in this line item vote, we will discuss the original amendments and the amended amendments, in addition to amendments sponsored by council members. The votes council takes today are non-binding. The formal votes on these amendments will occur at the official standing committees meeting held after the public hearing. Again, that will be next Wednesday. The standing committee meetings. We will take the amendments out of order this afternoon. Councilwoman Warwick has submitted amendments for council's consideration, which, if passed, would negate some of the OMB's requested amendments, and therefore the rules of council and the rules of order require us to take her amendments first. So everyone is equipped with a guide that you can see here on a yellow sheet, the sort of cheat sheet of the amendments. On page 1, you'll see 1, 2, and 3, and 4. You'll see the list of the mayor's administration operating amendments. And then the final page is city council operating amendments. So I guess with that, I would like to introduce our guests at the table before we start with the discussion of the amendments, as I mentioned, slightly out of order, and I'll guide you through which ones we'll be taking first and then second. We'll start with Director Walmsley and work down the line.
Kirsten Walmsley, Council Budget Director.
Rhea Price, Acting Director of the Office of Management and Budget.
Elizabeth Sircone, Assistant Director for Operating and Special Revenue.
Thank you very much. I can turn it over to Director Walmsley if you'd like to add anything to what I've already said.
Yeah.
Or start us off.
Yeah, so as Councilperson Strasburger said, we're going to be going a little bit out of order. So I appreciate everybody's patience while we get through this together. But we are going to start with the last page of your yellow packet with the 2 city council operating amendments that were both sponsored by Councilperson Warwick. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to read her first amendment, and then I'm also going to read the 2 corresponding amendments that would be in conflict with this one under the administration's amendments, if that makes sense. And then I'll read the second one, and I think there are 7 administrative amendments that one conflicts with, so I will read those as well. And then I'm going to pass it over to Councilperson Warwick, because I believe she has a presentation to kind of walk you all through this and clarify anything. And then we'll answer questions. So yeah, jumping into this, City Council Operating Amendment number 1 is to move vehicle funding from the Bureau of Emergency Medical Services to the Bureau of Fire and Department of Public Works, Bureau of Environmental Services. This is budget neutral in 2026 and across the 5-year plan. As I said, this does conflict with 2 of the administration's amendments, so I will read those now as well. The first amendment is actually number 20 in your packet, and that is to decrease funding in the Bureau of Emergency Medical Services for vehicles at a cost of $1,956,750. That's a decrease in 2026 with a 5-year impact of $9,891,750 decrease. And then the second amendment that it conflicts with is number 62, and that is to add PAYGO funding to the years 2028 through 2030 at a $2 million increase per year. That's a 5-year impact of a $6 million increase. So then we will turn back to the City Council operating amendments. The second one is a little more complicated, and I think that's where Councilperson Warwick's presentation will come in handy. I believe you also have the spreadsheet in front of you, and that also details all of the decreases that we'll be walking through. So the second City Council operating amendment is in order to keep the 2026 through 2027 vehicle funding in the budget, decreases to other administrative amendments are necessary. And so then moving back to the administration's amendments, the corresponding amendments here, starting with number 5, this amendment is to increase funding for bridge maintenance in the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure with a 2026 increase of $800,000 and a 5-year increase of $3.2 million. The next administrative operating amendment that will be impacted by the council amendment is number 18. That's to add funding to the Department of Public Works, Bureau of Facilities for roof replacements and boiler rooftop unit replacements at a 2026 increase of $2,556,352 and a 5-year impact of $3,756,352 increase. The next one is moving down to number 24, and that was to add funding in the Department of Human Resources to begin restoring funding to the VIBA Trust Fund that was drawn down in 2025. This is a $3.5 million increase in 2026 with a 5-year impact of $7 million increase. And then right below that, number 25, was to increase 2026 funding for retiree healthcare and the Department of Human Resources with a $6 million increase in 2026. Moving down the page to number 32, this amendment was increase funding for judgments in the Department of Law with a $7,250,000 increase in 2026 with a 5-year impact of $3.75 million. And then we'll take the final 2 with number 33, which was to increase funding for outside counsel in the Department of Law with a $500,000 increase in 2026 and a 5-year impact of $2,500,000 increase. And then finally, number 34 was to restore funding for city cuts within the office of the mayor. This is a $300,000 increase in 2026 with a 5-year impact of $1.5 million increase. And I will turn it over to Councilperson Warwick in a minute. I believe her presentation will walk through how her amendment impacts these administrative amendments, but none of those are being fully eliminated. It's all decreases to certain amounts that she will walk through. So if you would like to take it away.
Thank you. Here, I'll pull this closer. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Thank you. So I'm just going to walk through sort of the thinking behind these amendments first, and then the amendments themselves. All right. So, I'm going to catch up. All right. Okay. So I just want to remind everybody, right, that the city of Pittsburgh is in the midst of a dire vehicle shortage. Every city department relies on vehicles to serve our residents effectively. We are currently paying $400,000 a month on repairing vehicles, because our fleet is so old, right? So we are repairing vehicles that should have long been retired. In 2026 alone, so just this year, we had 37 plus of 95 plow-capable trucks out of service during a severe winter storm, right? One of the worst storms we've seen in a decade. We have had 2 of 12 aerial ladder fire trucks pulled from service, which so that's the ladder trucks, and that has left densely populated, high hazard neighborhoods, including downtown, the Cultural District, the Hill, and Duquesne University, without a ladder truck in the vicinity for at least a week. And just recently, we had 11 of roughly 40 refuse trucks out of service. So that's, a quarter of our garbage trucks out of service, which, results in delayed garbage pickup. And, and we've also seen missed recycling pickups due to vehicle issues. Pittsburgh City Council, so this body increased taxes by 20% recently to ensure, in large part, I'll say, to ensure that we could make the $20 million investment in 2026 needed to start addressing this long-standing vehicle crisis, right? So for a decade plus, multiple administrations have been, putting vehicles by the wayside, just, moving along, just, we can keep going, we can get another few years, and just sort of investing in drips and drabs. And that has gotten us to where we are. And we also know from our ELA, from our department directors, that $20 million a year is really the bare minimum that we should be investing in vehicles just to keep our heads above water. So we increased taxes on homeowners to do that, on property owners to do that, to make that investment in 2026, and I believe to continue making that investment, right? Pittsburgh residents deserve a city government that makes the hard choices necessary to ensure that they receive the core services that they pay for. And this includes, in my opinion, dedicated funding for fleet vehicles. You know, there is a bill on the table currently for a trust fund for fleet vehicles. The original bill is set at 20 million, but you know, maybe that's too high, maybe it could go lower. However, in the current 2026 budget, there was 1.98 million per year in the EMS budget for vehicles through 2030. So that's nearly $2 million a year in the EMS operating budget for vehicles. UPMC gifted the city $10 million for 2 years for ambulances, which helps offset the cost of ambulances. However, in these proposed budget amendments from the administration, the amendments that we're reviewing today, that funding is not reinvested into other vehicles. It is eliminated from the vehicle budget and moved to other things. Just like, and again, I understand that these are hard choices, right? These are hard choices that our budget team has to make and that administrations do every single year, right? But the reality is those choices result in our fleet getting underfunded, and that has gotten us to this crisis point today. So these funds, our fleet funds, you know, if we have a little extra in EMS, that means that those fleet funds should go to other departments, right? So here in these amendments, I'm proposing that they be reinvested into fire and refuse, right? Into fire and environmental services, not pooled to fund other needs. So, you know, here is just, you know, sort of the numbers in the spreadsheet. So again, $2 million in annual funding for EMS vehicles to be moved to fire and DPW environmental services for 2026 through 2030 to allow for the purchase of fire vehicles and environmental service vehicles. Now, what that means here is that would mean that we'd have to move money around, right? So what I'm proposing here is to remove some funding in order to account for that, right? Because this money, again, was not put in vehicles, it was just sort of put in other things, would be to remove some funding from bridge maintenance, roof and boiler replacements, VEBA, retiree healthcare, judgments, outside counsel, and city cuts in order to put it back into the vehicles where it belongs. So, you know, and you can see the details here, right, in the spreadsheet of how much, right, how much funding would be pulled in these amendments. So, you know, obviously open to discussion, but I do want to say that fleet has been deprioritized and is being deprioritized again here, right? And this is not even necessarily a criticism of the administration, because these are the tough choices that we have to make, right? But the reality is fleet takes a hit every year, all the time, every year, because we can always make, you know, it's just like at home. Just like, you know, I drive a van. I've got duct tape on the front of my van, right? But that's my van, and that's my problem for my family that gets stuck on the side of the road. But this is about Pittsburgh taxpayers, right? And they have put in money. They are putting in more money with the understanding that this year we should be investing in vehicles, and we should continue to invest in vehicles. The other point that I want to make, and I can actually put this as a question, I do not, and this is why I think we need dedicated funding for vehicles, I do not necessarily think it is a best practice for council members who are not budget experts to come into a budget that has been carefully worked out and just start cutting things left and right. I can ask our acting budget director if you have any thoughts on that. Like,
Sorry, can you repeat that, your concern again?
so, I mean, as the budget director, you know, doing the work that you and your team does, what is the impact of an amendment like this that essentially goes in and undoes the work that you've done ahead of time?
Well, if you're referring to the 2026 operating budget, like I mentioned before, we felt that due to the UPMC's donation, EMS was going to be fine. And we have such critical needs in so many of our departments that, I mean, we felt that we should reallocate those funds to those needs. And, you know, like I'd mentioned before, in the out years, 28, 29, and 2030, our intention was to use that $2 million for vehicles. So, and I know that you have concerns about that because
Right.
it doesn't explicitly say that it would be for vehicles. But, I mean, that was our intention.
Yeah.
So, but I understand.
So, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, we can't rely on, you know, promises, right? These are hard numbers. So I guess I frame the question differently. So let's just imagine hypothetically a budget is put together for 2020, a full budget, not just some amendments, right? But a full city budget that probably, I assume, takes 3 to 6 months to pull together. And then any given council member just jumped into that budget and moved, say, $10 million around. How would that impact your team and the work
I see
that you
what you're
do?
saying. Okay. So we haven't really analyzed your amendments yet, but I'm anticipating that in some of those areas, we may not have the funds at the end of this year to cover our obligations. At that time, we'll have to look in other areas of the budget that maybe we didn't need the full amount that was budgeted. And then we would come back to council to ask if we can move those funds around to cover those obligations, assuming that we even have the money to fund those. So, I mean, but that is an issue that we'll have to deal with at that time.
Right. So, I mean, I would say I like to put faith in our experts, right? Like in our budget team. But we also have this obligation, I feel, to residents around vehicles. So it seems to me that it would be better for the budget team to know ahead of time, before they start their budget process, that they need to account for X amount for vehicles, rather than sort of hopefully getting there, maybe not, and then members of council saying, hey, look, you know, our constituents are upset that we are just sort of blowing off the vehicle problem and we're going to make major changes.
Well, we will be looking at the 2027 operating budget not too far away.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully we will address many of your concerns through that process. But quite honestly, I mean, this budget reopener, there's been a lot of moving parts. And so quite honestly, maybe there are some things that we could have analyzed a little better. But yeah, there was just so many things that we needed to address here. So is it perfect? Absolutely not. I will be the first person to admit that. But these are the things that, you know, we felt that, you know, we have to address now. You'll see a number of large items for the 2027 operating budget as well. So.
Anyway, so I will, you know, I'll leave it at that. Happy, obviously, if anybody has comments, I can answer any questions as well.
Thank you. So I will be opening this up to other council members. Just for those who weren't with us at the beginning, I wanted to reiterate, we are currently considering on the last page of the yellow document that you have, City Council operating amendments. We're considering both of these and will eventually take a preliminary vote. But we have also noted that for awareness, City Council Operating Amendment 1 would implicate the Administration Operating Amendment 20 and 62. So it would negate those two. And City Council Operating Amendment 2 would implicate Administration Operating Amendment 5, 18, 24, 25, 32, 33, and 34. Just want to reiterate that. And from there, I'm happy to open it up to council members. I am also happy to just blanket interrogatory as necessary with the council member, as these are her amendments. So I saw Councilman Wilson's hand first. Do you have a clarifying question? Okay.
Yeah, point of clarity. Have we taken a motion on this yet?
We have not taken a motion on this yet. I'm happy to allow someone to give a motion so we can further discuss this. Is there a motion on?
Motion to approve discussion.
Motion to approve City Council Operating Amendment 1. Let's start there. Well, we'll do 1 and 2 and take them together since I think we're talking about both. Does that make sense to the council member? Okay.
So move
1,
discussion.
2. Move. Discussion. Is there a second? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Council President. Councilman Wilson first.
Okay, thank you. And so I just want to make sure I'm clear of what's going on here. So this amendment from City Council, which is from Councilperson Warwick, both of them, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So here's what, because I'm hearing that, like, it just sounds like we're not doing the right thing, or that's what I'm taking away from it, is that we're not doing the right thing here. So I just want to ask, in the end of 2025, when we passed the budget, how much was allocated to the fleet?
I believe there was 16 million in capital, probably another 2 million in public safety for police vehicles. Do you know of anything else? Yeah.
So
Yeah.
16 million, like, to ELA to spend.
Yeah, that was the PAYGO amount that was in
that's
the
PAYGO
capital
amount.
budget.
And there was 2 million in.
Yeah, so as you know, police vehicles are budgeted in the operating.
Okay, yeah, they're budgeting up. And how much was that?
I think that's usually around 2 million a year.
Okay. And then roughly before coming in here, was there something in EMS as well?
Yeah, there was almost $2 million budgeted in EMS operating.
So that adds up to 20 million.
Right. I think
Okay,
it was
so-
a little bit over 20 because I
Okay.
think there was also money for DPW in the Liquid Fuels Trust Fund.
Okay, so we did allocate 20. So what does this amendment do?
So this amendment would be additive, basically,
So-
to the amount that,
It would take away from other things and then increase that amount to.
yeah, it would leave the funding that is currently budgeted in EMS's operating budget in the operating budget, but would disperse it to fire and environmental services instead. But it would add almost $4 million in
But we
expenses
go from
based on
20
the administration's amendments.
So we go from 20 to 24 with these amendments. Is that what I'm hearing?
So it's 2 million each year. So it would be 2 million in 2026. I'm not sure what the amount is if we also add in the UPMC funds and the PNC funds. I assume it's
Right.
over 20 million at this point.
So does the administration's amendments take out funding to the fleet?
Yes.
Oh, I want to. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Do you want me to answer? Okay.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Yes. So, like I said, there was, and as Kirsten had said, there was less than a smidge under $2 million each year in EMS's operating budget. And since UPMC donated $10 million for EMS vehicles,
Okay.
We thought it was safe to remove the 1.9 and change million in 2026 and
Yeah.
2027 altogether, and allocate that towards the other amendments that we have in front of you. However, in 2028, 2029, and 2030, we moved that funding from the operating budget to a pay-go line item with the intention to use that for vehicles in those years.
Oh, not even next year. We're talking about in the future years.
Yes, correct.
To use. So they're not
Yes.
they're not touching what we voted on for this year right now, 26. There's nothing.
Well, no,
nothing-
there is funding that we're moving from 2026 and 2027. So,
related vehicles.
yeah, that was set aside for EMS vehicles.
Okay, and
And
why would you move the money out from EMS?
because we received the donation from UPMC.
The donation.
Yes.
And is that going to fill the whole bucket? The
I mean,
1.9 or whatever you said, right?
so, well, the donation was for $10 million.
Right.
Yes.
But
So the
1.9 this year for.
right, and then 1.9 for next year too. So that's $4 million. So there's still an additional $6 million from that UPMC donation. So, like I said,
So I'm trying to pull out what you're saying. You mentioned so you're saying that donation is going to fill the 1.9.
yes,
Is that what you're trying to say? Okay.
yes.
So
So-
what are we talking about then? I mean, isn't that what we want? Isn't that what we want? We want if we get contributions in from nonprofits, and we can, I guess I'm just going to make a statement here. If we can, these announcements of donations to the city or agreements that are happening, and we're getting payments, in terms of donations, and we're able to use those funds. I mean, we're not taking away. So I guess I'm just lost here because it sounds good. It sounds like we're doing the right thing. It sounds like these amendments from the administration are doing the right thing. And we already made our decisions on how much we want to spend on fleet in 25, and they're spending the same amount. So I guess I'm okay with what the administration's doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? I'll take first round Councilman Coghill and then second round Councilmember Warwick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, like Councilman Warwick, I'm always alarmed when we touch the vehicle funds. I've been trying to bring attention to that for years now. Had 2 post agendas and had all the directors here telling us how bad a shape everything was in, which it is. But I understand the position that the administration was in when they found that we were short anywhere from $20 to $40 million on top of what we already were facing. So it's like robbing Peter to pay Paul. I quite like the idea of UPMC, and I'm really happy that the administration works with them, and it just makes sense for them. I know that they feel good about putting ambulances on the street. We need them desperately. We deliver their patients. So, that all made really great sense. I wouldn't be for this had we not found the, recent deficit that we're really in. But I understand as to moving this money around. I trust that the administration will be putting it back in the out years. You said 28, 29, 30. I do want to make sure that our plan is to, I'm really concerned about fire right now more than anybody. And we have an ELA board meeting tomorrow, and I want to be reassured that their needs are going to be met. And I'm sure that, I know that it's on the administration's mind. I know that, that's, but just to be sure before, we won't be taking a vote on this today anyway.
We will be taking a vote, but there'll be the official vote a week from
Right.
today.
Got it. Right. So now I'm supportive. I feel like you did what you had to do, and we'll make everything right. I think 2 years from now, this will all be an afterthought, but we have to move and, take funds from here to give to there just to make sure our bills are paid and that everything's, current. So, I'll support the amendments from the mayor's office and be sure that we get the fleet funded properly. So that's it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Second round, Councilmember Warwick.
So I just wanted to clarify for Councilman Wilson. So yes, the taxpayers filled the gap and got us to close to $20 million in 2026 for vehicles. And that included $2 million in EMS vehicles. So UPMC made a donation of $5 million because it's $5 million each year, right? So $5 million in 2026. And so pulling this money out effectively like decreases that down to 3. And that still leaves us with a giant gap in 2020. So we are nowhere close to $20 million in 2027, right? We have $5 million of UPMC money, and that's it. And there's like $2 million, I think, in the out years that for our fire truck leases or something like that. I can't remember exactly, right?
Yes, and I'm not sure what's in the CIP right now. I don't have it up in
Right.
front of me.
So 2026, yes, we're good. Why? Because the taxpayers ponied up $28 million in additional taxes, 10 of which went into, which this council did, right? 10 of which went into fleet. And so here, despite the assurance that fleet is a priority, we get a little extra money from UPMC, and the next step is that we're pulling money out, and only for EMS, right? Because the UPMC money can only be spent on EMS. So instead of reallocating that money to our dire other issues in fleet, and by the way, it's not just fire and refuse, right? Like it's forestry, it's every department in the city, right? But we're talking about the most urgent ones. And so, no, we do not have enough. Right now, we have a guarantee from UPMC of $5 million for 2027 in fleet, and that's it. And so that's why, just to underscore the propensity of, and again, not just this administration, I get it, right? This is something that happens every single year and has been happening for 10, 15 years, is that you get down to budget time and you got to move some, you have all these things that you need to manage. And fleet is a real easy thing to skimp on because you can always get another year out of that truck. But we're paying $400,000 a month in repairs because of those decisions over so many years. And so there comes a point, and I think that point is now, because for the first time in 10 years, we have turned to the taxpayers who are actually experiencing the effects of this fleet disaster in real time, right, in snowstorms, and seeing that fire trucks aren't available and garbage trucks that are down. It's affecting services, and we have turned to the taxpayer and asked them to pony up to help us fix this problem. And I feel that it is our job as council to make sure that we, fulfill that commitment to the taxpayers, to not just do it in 1 year, to get us out of the emergency situation, we're in right in this second, but to continue, to use that money to continue investing in fleet and to lock at least a minimum investment in dedicated funding, right? Anyway, I will say again, I do not think it is not a best practice for council to go in and just slash and burn on an administration's budget. That is not it's been done before, I've heard. I've heard that there have been members who've just taken a mayor's budget and thrown it in the garbage and started over. I don't know if that's true, but it's not a best practice. But what we can do is make sure long-term that we have dedicated funding for fleet. That is within our power. And then that sets the parameter for the budget office to, again, and these are hard decisions. These are hard decisions. And to make those hard decisions within the rules as they have been set by council. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Any further discussion second round? Okay, seeing none, the question on the table is both of the city council operating amendments, 1 and 2. So we will take a preliminary vote on both of those together. And does anyone have a question about the procedure or what implication of those votes? No? Yes, Councilman.
Yay would be voting for
For
the
it.
amendments. No would be voting against.
Correct. Yes. But in doing so, we would also then, because we all read the other ones together, we'll take a separate vote on them, but they would also then be a default no vote on the administration amendments, just to be clear, because they cannot be considered at the same time because they're in conflict with one another. So per the Home Rule Charter and rules of order, we would have to vote on one and then therefore not the other, if that makes sense. Okay? Yeah. So all in favor of City Council operating amendments 1 and 2, please indicate by saying aye. Are there any aye votes?
You going to support your bill?
Are there any aye votes on 1 and 2? Council operating amendments 1 and 2.
Yeah, I'll vote aye.
Abstain? Any nay votes? Nay.
No.
Okay.
I'll abstain. I'm not actually sure if I was able to follow, since there were so many line items with the councilwoman's proposal. So again, since this is just a kind of
2 abstentions.
Thank you.
And as a reminder, these will be back up for consideration next week. So this is just a temperature check indication. But okay, so as of now, City Council operating amendments motion fails. Okay, thank you. We will now move on to the administration operating amendments, which is page 1 of your yellow sheet. So I believe what we will do here is have our budget director read them one by one and take a motion on each one. Okay.
All right, yeah, so from here on out, it should be a little more straightforward. So we'll just start with the first administrative operating amendment. So number 1 is to increase the payroll preparation tax for 2026 with an $8 million increase.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of administration amendment 1, please say aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 2.
Amendment number 2, decrease charges for services to account for the automated red light funding not anticipated until 2027. This is a $1,868,832 decrease in 2026.
Is there a motion?
Motion approved.
Second.
Discussion? Councilwoman Gross.
I'm curious to see this. And again, I know it's for the public and for us. There are, 60 some different line items to continue to discuss and try to research. I will be asking, probably not today, I'm not sure if anyone at the table has the answer, if this is related to the automatic license plate readers that are part of the surveillance technologies that we'll also be hearing about when we hear the reports on our technology and privacy and surveillance reporting. So I don't know if you know it now or if you don't.
Yeah, I can't address your concerns as far as, that kind of surveillance. But yeah, this is related to the automated red light enforcement program.
Which is separate than parking ticketing, which automatic license plate readers are, but I believe automatic ticketing for red light cameras also use license plate readers, right? And so right now, decreasing the charges for services, does that mean that it's like delaying any of the projected program?
No. So this revenue was put in for 2026. The program has not actually started yet, and we probably won't see revenue for at least another quarter. And so because of that, we felt that it was safe to remove the 2026. We thought that it was, just to be conservative, we would remove that revenue for 2026 only. We didn't want to count on that revenue if there was little likelihood that we're going to receive that.
Okay, so I'll separately ask Domi or Innovation and Performance, whoever is doing the red light. Do you know where the red light camera project is?
I don't have those intersections.
Do you know where the red light camera project is,
Yes,
Councilwoman?
yes. So it very much is moving forward this year, albeit slowly. It will roll out not all at once, but one intersection at a time, likely the first one coming in Q2, maybe Q3 of this year. And, as the acting director said, probably a conservative budgeting estimate that we might not recoup all the costs that we thought, just in case there are further delays. Just to note, yes, it will utilize license plate reader technology. It is a separate company from our stationary parking ticket vendor. That one is called Automotus. This one's called Vera. And I believe that there is a plan to brief all of council on all the ins and outs of the program before it goes far before it goes live, before it goes public as well, to be able to answer questions such as data retention policies, et cetera, et cetera.
Do you know where those first intersections are?
Yes, and they are posted on the Engage page of the red light camera. I don't know all of them off the top of my head. I know Sawmill Run is one of them, Fifth and Negley is another, but I don't have all of them on the top of my head.
But there is, so we can just leave it there. Thank you for the information. So there is an Engage page with more of these details, but then we will also be being briefed, but we'll also separately ask to be sure that there are privacy and security policies in place. And so we can leave it there, but thank you for the information.
Any further discussion on number 2? Seeing none, all in favor of amendment number 2, please say aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Amendment number 3.
Yeah, and I think from here on out, these are all expenditure related, and I don't think there are any more revenue ones. So moving on to number 3, this is to update all AFSCME 2719 and Teamsters position salaries across various departments based on the newly signed 2026 agreements. This is budget neutral in 2026 with a 5-year impact of $2,073,758.95.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of amendment number 3, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Affirmative recommendation. Amendment number 4.
Increase funding for premium pay in the Commission on Human Relations. This is a $2,000 increase in 2026 and a 5-year increase of $10,000.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of amendment number 4, please say aye.
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 Affirmative recommendation. We will take votes on the bills that that were implicated by the council budget amendments. It might be duplicative, but I'm going to make the executive decision just to take a vote on it anyway, for the record.
Yeah, so as Councilperson Strasburger indicated, this is one of the ones that was in conflict with the council budget amendment. So number 5 is to increase funding for bridge maintenance in the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure with an $800,000 increase in 2026 and a 5-year increase of $3.2 million.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of amendment number 5, please say aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Amendment number 6.
Number 6, increase funding for premium pay in the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure. This is a $100,000 increase in 2026 and a 5-year increase of $500,000.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of amendment 6, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 7.
This is to decrease 2026 funding for the automated red light enforcement and machinery and equipment in the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure. This is a $1,028,832 decrease in 2026.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of amendment 7, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 8.
This is to increase the 2026 funding for natural gas in the Department of Public Works Bureau of Administration at a $300,000 increase in 2026.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Amendment 8, please say aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation, Amendment 9.
This is to increase the 2026 premium pay in the Department of Public Works Bureau of Operations to account for the February 2026 snow event at a $500,000 increase for 2026.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 9, please say aye.
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 Affirmative recommendation, Amendment 10.
This is to increase the 2026 funding in the Department of Public Works Bureau of Operations to account for emergency snow removal services during the February 2026 snow event at a 2026 increase of $1,706,755.89.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Note here, yet another expense for us not having the vehicles that we need to do the work that we need to do. Thanks.
Further discussion? Councilwoman Gross.
Thank you. For all of the budget people, we just did preliminary approval on some invoices for the snow event. So is that, how much was it that we approved today, preliminary vote?
Was that the
300,000 or so?
400,000.
Yeah, it was over 400,000.
It was over 400,000 today.
Did we hold it?
Oh, we held it 1 week. We held it 1 week. And so can you explain what item 10 is?
Yeah, so I think that there were about 5 separate invoices in total for the contracted out snow removal. Felino was one. Melee, was that another one? And I can't remember the other 3. But anyway, the total amount of all those invoices was $1.7 million. The cost of the entire snow event was actually over $4 million. But at this point, the amendments are what we're coming to council to ask for to address that. So the total of these 2 amendments, number 9 and number 10, is around $2.3 million. So that's the overtime, some of the overtime. It's not all the overtime related to the snow event. What's not here, we're just going to try to cover with what funds are in their operating budgets now. But yeah, this $1.7 million, that was the snow removal that we contracted out.
All of it. But if it was all of it, then how do we have any money and it's covering it all? How are we planning on paying the invoices that came to preliminary vote today?
No, that's included in this amount.
Okay.
Yes.
But the money isn't there to pay it?
So, I mean,
This is the money to pay it.
Yes,
But we haven't
correct.
allocated this money yet.
that's right.
And so how could we have approved that invoice and to pay it when that we may not allocate this money into that budget line?
So, I mean, they would probably use, I think that they paid the invoices from Liquid Fuels Trust Fund.
Okay.
And the intent was then we would use these funds to reimburse the Liquid Fuels Trust Fund.
Okay,
for
so we
those
think the
expenses.
legislation that was in front of us this morning was to be paid out of a different JDE number than this one that doesn't exist yet.
I'd have to bring that legislation
Let's
up and
check
look
that.
at it.
Since we've held it for a week, let's make sure that we're not trying to pay it out of what is still now an imaginary JDE number. I'd appreciate that. That's all I'm asking. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 10, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 11.
This is to add 1 heavy equipment operator to the Department of Public Works Bureau of Operations with a $79,447 increase in 2026 with a 5-year increase of $422,131.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 11, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 12.
This is to add one coordinator support services to the Department of Public Works Bureau of Operations at an $86,388 increase in 2026 and a 5-year increase of $442,743.
Motion to approve.
Second discussion.
Discussion, Councilwoman Gross.
Thank you. I am just curious what a coordinator support services in DPW is, because it sounds like a great idea from what I would like imagine it is, but does anyone know like what they'll actually be tasked with?
Honestly, I do not have those details in front of me right now. I can certainly get those for you, and I will definitely have them for council at the next vote.
That'd be great. There's just lots of ways that we've had observations, I think, just as, you know, in discussing DPW responses to things that like, hey, can't we take like the vehicles from this, you know, function A and then use them for an emergency like the snow event? Like, what about garbage trucks? Some cities put, you know, snow removal shovels in the front of garbage trucks, but, you know, so I'm kind of imagining someone who's a coordinator would play that role, but I'm sure there's lots of other functions like that. And so I'm just wondering what is imagined for this role or planned for it.
I'll get that information
Thank
to you.
you. I appreciate
And
that.
just to let you know, you were asking about the Felino
Yes,
invoice. Yes, that JDE job number, that was the Liquid Fuels Trust Fund.
Okay, yeah. So it would have been paid had we voted on it. It would have been approved. There was money. It's a real account. It would have been paid out of that. But instead, we're moving this money into it.
Yes, to reimburse
And then
it,
that'll
yes.
cover the whole thing. And so there will still be $400,000 or $500,000 that we're not using in the liquid fuels tax if we create this line.
Oh, no, there's plenty of other funding in the liquid fuels.
Sure, but
trust fund.
that $400,000 won't come out.
Right, that's correct.
It'll come
yes.
out of here instead if we create it.
Yeah, what we'll do, since this is being
I
paid
know
out
it.
of liquid
I think
fuels,
I think I'm saying it, yeah.
yeah, we'll take the funding that we're adding via this amendment, and we'll transfer that to liquid fuels to to
I mean,
reimburse it
otherwise,
for
since we held it for a week, we could also just change the JDE number so it's coming out of the correct account.
we could do that too.
Yeah.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 12, please say aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 13.
Remove 2 laborer positions from the Department of Public Works Bureau of Operations with a $128,342 decrease in 2026 and a $682,282 decrease over the 5 years.
Motion approved.
Second.
Discussion?
Just a quick question.
Selenetro.
I'm sorry. These are 2 positions that were never filled, correct? These are vacant.
Yeah, these are
positions.
vacant positions.
Okay.
That's correct.
We weren't laying anybody off. I just
No.
wanted to make sure I understood that. Okay, thank you.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 13, please say aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 14.
Remove 1 neighborhood engagement coordinator from the Department of Public Works Bureau of Operations. This is an $80,205 decrease in 2026 and a 5-year decrease of $411,194.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 14, please say aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 15.
Decrease 2026 funding for vehicles in the Department of Public Works Bureau of Operations at a 2026 decrease of $680,352.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Councilmember Warwick.
So just to clarify on this one, correct me if I'm wrong, this was like double booked, right?
Correct. Yeah, we believe
Okay.
this is a duplicate because the exact same entry was in the liquid fuels trust fund.
Got it.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 15, please say aye.
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 Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 16.
Increase funding for healthcare related to Teamsters in the Department of Public Works Bureau of Environmental Services with a $50,000 increase in 2026 and a 5-year increase of $250,000.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 16, please say aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 17.
This is to add one director of DPW facilities in the Department of Public Works Bureau of Facilities. This is a $155,006 increase in 2026 with a 5-year increase of $792,764.
Motion to approve.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 17, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 18.
Number 18, I will just put a disclaimer that this one is another one that was in conflict with one of the council budget amendments. But this is to add funding to the Department of Public Works Bureau of Facilities for roof replacements and boiler rooftop unit replacements at a 2026 increase of $2,556,352 and a 5-year increase of $3,756,352.
Motion to approve.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 18, please say aye. Aye. Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 19.
This is to upgrade one division chief to assistant chief in the Bureau of Emergency Medical Services. This is an $11,227 increase in 2026 with a 5-year increase of $57,320.
Motion to approve.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 19, please say aye.
Aye.
Amendment 20.
Decrease funding in the Bureau of Emergency Medical Services for vehicles. This is a $1,956,750 decrease in 2026 with a 5-year decrease of $9,891,750.
Motion to approve.
Discussion? Councilmember Warwick.
Yeah, so obviously I'm a no on this one, and just to clarify that if instead of, if we just moved this money into vehicles for 2027, this $4 million roughly, and then added the $5 million from UPMC, we would be at $9 million already for vehicles for 2027, which would be a pretty comfortable place at this point in the year. Right? So I just want to clarify that for 2027. Anyway, thank you.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 20, please say aye.
Aye.
No.
One no.
Yeah.
So noted. Amendment 21.
This is making a technical correction in the Bureau of Fire for the fire chief and deputy chief salary rates. This is a $17,239.44 increase in 2026 and a 5-year increase of $130,360.91.
Motion to approve.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 21, please say aye. Aye. Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 22.
This would remove the emergency management allowance allocated in the Bureau of Fire at a $10,000 decrease in 2026 and a 5-year decrease of $50,000.
Motion to approve.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 22, please say aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 23.
This is to update the 2026 active healthcare numbers across all departments. This is a $5 million increase for 2026.
Motion to approve.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 23, please say aye. Aye. Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 24.
Yes. And I did want to point that this is another one in conflict with the council budget amendment. But number 24 is to add funding to the Department of Human Resources to begin restoring funding to the VEBA trust fund that was drawn down in 2025. This is $3.5 million increase in 2026 with a 5-year increase of $7 million.
Motion to approve.
Discussion? Councilwoman Gross.
Thank you. You explained this very clearly a week or so ago, and just a reminder, what is the VEBA?
That stands for Voluntary Employment Benefits Association. And this might be a little bit too much information for you, but the city has two VIBA trust funds. There's a VIBA Healthcare Trust Fund and a VIBA Workers' Comp Trust Fund. This one that we're addressing right here, this is the VIBA Healthcare Trust Fund. And so every month, our healthcare claims are actually made, our active healthcare claims and other benefits are actually made from this trust fund. And then every month, we reimburse that trust fund from amounts that are budgeted in every single department for those expenses. And so the reason for this restoration amount is a number of things occurred in 2025. There was a $5 million drawdown that occurred that decreased the balance in the VIBA Trust Fund by $5 million. And then the amounts were incorrect, let's just say that, in 2025. So basically at the start of this year, that trust fund was absolutely insolvent. So we're trying to build up that cushion that we should have in that trust fund so that we're able to always pay our claims.
Very good, thank you.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 24, please say aye.
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 Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 25.
This is to increase the 2026 funding for retiree healthcare in the Department of Human Resources at a $6 million increase for 2026.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Councilman Coghill.
Yeah, so, we really got hit hard with these health insurance payments or without paying for the benefits. How are we to know in the future? Like, we don't get I was clueless that we didn't pay that. So how is it that we're going to know in the future? I trust that this administration is going to be paying that, but I was quite caught by surprise that we were $11 million short in healthcare payments.
Well, no, the payments were made, but it was at the expense of
other monies
yeah.
that wasn't accounted for, though.
Right, and so there, like in the VIBA Trust Fund, there used to be like a healthy cushion of from what I remember in my previous stint in OMB, like around $8 million.
So we raided that fund.
Yes.
Had no money there, and
yes.
now we're forced to pay it. And this
yes.
is not something we can defer. This has to be paid.
Right, exactly.
Right. That's about a third of really the hole that we found.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have to assure that the fund is funded to make sure.
Yes, and this particular amendment, this refers to a different trust fund. This refers to the OPEB trust fund, which is the Other Post-Employment Benefits Trust Fund. That's a trust fund that has its own board and everything. To be completely honest, we've never actually spent anything from this trust fund. It was a trust fund that we were required to set up by Act 47 in 2010. And we steadily made contributions to it until a few years ago. And so starting last year, there was a $5 million drawdown in 2025 from this trust fund.
I guess that's my question, right? When the $5 million, did we approve that? Did the council
The board
have to
approved
approve
it.
The board
No, it
approved
didn't go.
So we wouldn't know.
I guess technically you approved it by approving the budget, but you don't see the detail. Do you know what I mean? That goes into what you're approving.
Being that we vote on the budget, right, and we have to take everything into account. Whose responsibility is it? Anybody's responsibility to say, "Oh, hey, by the way, the administration just raided this fund that we can't pay for." So I never got that information. I guess. And
no, I understand. Yeah.
Is there some policy in place that we know?
So the
such
OPEB
things?
Trust Fund, they do have quarterly meetings. Is that correct?
I believe, yes.
Yeah, and so they do have a website, and documents are posted there. But you would have to check the website. So, but yeah, so I believe the minutes are posted on that website.
Because it never came in question in the past because
right,
it was
because
funded.
nobody was aware of
Now,
this.
lo and behold,
Yes.
guess what? It's not funded. One of the surprises, unwelcome surprise that we found out through the turn of the administration. Okay. All right, I guess I'm just, I guess we just got to hope that we have responsible mayors that keep that funded, and board to vote to keep that funded, because we are we don't know. I mean, when we're voting on the budget and we don't know that. I didn't know. I mean, I don't know if any of us knew. Did we know? I don't know. I'm just wondering, should we know, or did somebody inform council? I guess no.
No.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Councilman, if I may,
Yes,
I
please.
agree with you, not just on this, but on so many other issues that, like, we are the fiduciary managers of the city. We hold the
Right.
purse strings. We should know more about the budget and how it works than I think many of us do, right? It's so complicated. We know a lot, right? We pass a budget every year, but I guess to your point, I'm looking at various ways that, various guardrails and various strategies that we could start to institute, not just relying on like the collective wisdom that we've gained over the last 6 months, but also just like in the future for future council members who haven't gone through this process to be able to just institute policies or procedures or habits to ensure that we're always asking about the VIBA Trust Fund. We're always asking about the OPED Trust, or whatever it takes to be able to understand that. So I'm very much on the same page as you. I'd love to talk to you about it more, and then talk to council
Like
members
at least
about
a
some
red
of the
alarm
ideas.
goes off in our offices
Yeah.
when somebody raids a fund.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, any further discussion on Amendment 25? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 26.
Upgrade one Director of Human Resources to Chief of Labor Relations and Director of Human Resources. This is a $4,409 increase in 2026 and a 5-year increase of $22,454.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 26, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 27.
Upgrade one Assistant Director to Deputy Director in the Department of Human Resources and Civil Service at a $7,408 increase for 2026 and a 5-year increase of $36,928.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 27, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 28.
Remove one Senior HR Specialist in the Department of Human Resources and Civil Service. This is a $71,546 decrease in 2026 with a 5-year decrease of $370,308.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 28, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 29.
Upgrade 3 HR specialists from 15G to 17G on the step grade scale in the Department of Human Resources and Civil Service. This is a $30,026 increase in 2026 and a $153,868 increase over the 5 years.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 29, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 30.
Remove one 311 call center representative from the Department of Innovation and Performance. This is a $61,398 decrease in 2026 and a 5-year decrease of $325,188.
Second.
Discussion? Councilmember Warwick.
I just, not to get too deep into it, but I feel that we should, well, I'd like to talk more about our 311 system, but also if we can move the public toward a more automated version of that. Right? Obviously, you need people on the phone for older folks who are not as tech savvy, but I think that a rethinking of how we connect with people via 311 in this age, when apps, email, that kind of thing, is definitely something to think about. So anyway, supportive obviously of this. Thank you.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 30, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 31.
Remove one systems administrator from the Department of Innovation and Performance. This is a $96,390 decrease in 2026 and a $493,770 decrease over 5 years.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 31, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 32.
Increase funding for judgments in the Department of Law at a $7.25 million increase in 2026 and a $13.75 million increase over the 5 years.
Motion to approve.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 32, please say aye.
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 Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 33.
This is to increase funding for outside counsel in the Department of Law at a $500,000 increase in 2026 and a 5-year increase of $2.5 million. I also should have said that 32, 33, and 34 are all in conflict with the council budget amendment.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 33, please say aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 34.
Restore funding for city cuts within the office of the mayor. It's a $300,000 increase in 2026 with a 5-year increase of $1.5 million.
Motion to approve.
Discussion? Councilmember Warwick.
So for city cuts, which, you know, I know a lot of people are big fans of this program. So, you know, and it's a long-standing program. I will say, I feel as though, well, I think that this is something that could be funded by foundation dollars, first of all, right? And second of all, if it is being funded, you know, or it is being funded by city dollars, I feel that there should be an income requirement, right? So just having it be folks with disabilities and seniors. I have lots of seniors in my district who can afford $50 to get their lawn mowed, right? And so the city, and I don't believe there is an income requirement at this stage. Am I wrong about that?
No, I think you're right.
Yeah, so that is not, you know, lots of seniors are on fixed incomes and are low income, and it is a burden to pay somebody to mow the lawn, you know, 2-3 times a summer. However, you know, as we know, folks who know to call and you know, often the folks who don't know to call are the ones who would need the service most. So I would strongly encourage the administration to make sure that these dollars are going toward our most needy, you know, our neediest folks by adding some type of income requirement to this program. That's all. Thanks.
Thank you. Further discussion. Councilmember Coghill.
Yeah, I agree. That I would love to see foundations fund this or something other than the city of Pittsburgh. I think it's wonderful and it's great, and the people benefit, I'm sure, need it, and it's welcome. But it's really not the city's responsibility. It's a nice perk, a nice service, and it's great when we're flush with money, but we're not. And it's $300,000. It's not going to break us. But at the same time, I don't know if there's amounts, you know, financial, you know, what your income amount is, but certainly that should be in place. But yeah, I'd like to see us, I'll vote for it this year, but I'd like to see us get away from that and find funding elsewhere for us to do it, because then we send we pay individual contractors. We don't send our employees out. So we pay landscapers and people would sign up, I guess. So yeah, it's a nice thing. It's just, I don't feel it's necessary. I don't think it's our duty or our obligation as a city. So, but I'll support it this year until we can hopefully find an alternative funding source.
Second round, Councilmember Warwick.
You know, one fairly, I mean, not to oversimplify, everything's more complicated than it seems, but providing a service to folks based on whether or not they have a SNAP card is often a fairly simple way to just, you know what I mean, rather than some kind of form or something. Just, do you have, do you have SNAP benefits? Yes, okay, then you're eligible.
Councilmember
I'm
Cockell.
trying to remember, is this, was this Councilwoman Cale Smith's initiative?
Yes, it was.
Oh, don't tell her I just said that, all right? I'm glad she's not. I remember that. Okay, thanks. I support it. I said I was supporting it.
Some here. She. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 34, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 35.
Add funding for interns within the Office of the Mayor, a $50,000 increase in 2026, and a 5-year increase of $250,000.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 35, please say aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 36.
Restore funding for Love Your Block within the Office of the Mayor. This is a $20,000 increase in 2026 and a $100,000 increase over the 5-year plan.
Second.
Discussion?
I just have a question as to what is it? What's the money go to? Love Your Block?
From what I recall in my previous stint in OMB, these are like small grants that were given out for like lot improvements and very
So
small
you
improvements.
apply
So-
for them? Like it's
Yes.
grants?
Yeah.
Yeah.
From what do you?
It's neighborhood beautification
Yeah,
projects.
right.
Right.
We could get you more information.
Reimbursement based. It's
Is
small.
that
amounts.
Councilwoman Teresa Cale Smith's initiative?
No,
too?
I don't believe so. No.
Okay, I'll support it.
Councilman Mosley.
And are these led by like community-based organizations generally?
We can follow up. I believe it also could potentially be just individuals.
Yeah.
Individuals and community groups can apply.
And I don't believe it was used too much last year, was it?
It's utilized. There is a we're following up on previous year grants still.
Thank you.
It's like the last year it was open for applications is 2024. All right. Any further Councilmember Warwick.
I will say just, and this is of course anecdotal, in my but I have had neighborhood groups who've applied multiple times to Love Your Block and they like never get it, and it's frustrating. And sometimes I wonder if those improvements couldn't be just something we'd be like, could we just get DPW or whoever to do whatever it is that you're wanting to do rather than go through this. I mean, again, the dollar amount is low, but it's one of those things you do the application year after year and then you don't get it, and it just creates some frustration. But it's so little money, there's not enough to go around. So anyway, this is a thought.
Councilwoman Gross.
Yeah, I'll just have to chime in and say that the Love Your Block program is just fantastic, right? So even though we're trying to cut and we're trying to...
Her groups are getting funded by it.
The last one I'm aware of was before I was elected, but it never ceases to strike me just how lovely the effects of that improvement were on that block. It's in Lawrenceville, and every time I drive by and I think there's matching window boxes on historic store facades of the homes there, and it's just like, that block is so great. So it's like 20 years later or something. So yes, we try to not take on too much, and here we are all talking about returning to basic services, but then also there's a program like this that does costs a little bit, does so much that it'd be great if we could do more of it. So that's all. Thank you.
All in favor of Amendment 36, please say aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 37.
Move memberships and professional services associated with the Office of Business Diversity from the Office of the Mayor to the Office of Management and Budget to align with 2026 staffing. This is budget neutral across the 5-year plan.
To approve.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 37, please say aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 38.
Increase 2026 funding for memberships and professional services in the Office of Management and Budget. This is a $20,321 increase for 2026.
Motion to approve.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 38, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 39.
Increase 2026 funding for insurance in the Office of Management and Budget to cover true costs. This is a $4,650.60 increase for 2026.
Motion to approve.
Discussion? All in favor, please say, of Amendment 39, please say aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 40.
This is to add funding to cover the capital portion of 412 Boulevard of the Allies, a $250,000 increase in 2026 and a 5-year increase of $1.25 million.
Motion to approve.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 40, please say aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 41.
Downgrade the director position to a deputy director in the Office of Management and Budget. This is a $39,916 decrease in 2026 and a 5-year decrease of $207,741.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 41, please say aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 42.
Change the title of the Chief Financial Officer to Chief Financial Officer and Director of the Office of Management and Budget. This is budget neutral across the 5-year plan.
Motion to approve.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 42, please say aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 43.
Increase funding to cover fuel expenses in the Office of Management and Budget. This is a $550,000 increase in 2026.
Second.
Discussion? I should have caught this before, but I didn't, and I'm curious what the fuel expenses are for the Office of Management and Budget. What does this relate to?
Oh, all the fuel that
All the
city
fuel.
spends. Yes.
That's just where we hold the fuel.
Correct,
cost.
yes.
Kind of like finance holds all the. Yeah.
Correct,
Okay,
yes.
got it. Healthcare. Or yeah, whatever. Okay, got it. Thank you. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 43, please say aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 44.
Increase 2026 funding to cover non-target fleet repairs in the Office of Management and Budget. This is a $2 million increase in 2026.
Second.
Discussion? Councilmember Warwick.
So can I ask, non-target fleet repairs, does that mean out of the ordinary repairs?
That's correct.
Right.
Yes, there is a target portion, which is pretty much the same every month.
Yeah.
And then, these are some repairs that aren't in the actual contract.
Right. So again, I just, want to underscore. So, we're nearly 2 million in contractors to help us with snow because we don't have enough vehicles. And now we're an additional 2 million in 2026 to help, pay for just these repairs that we're making on these old vehicles. So that's 4 million right there. That's about what you took out of EMS, not you, out of EMS vehicles already. Just, everyone gets my point. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Councilman Coghill.
I agree mostly of the fleet woes that we have with you, but I don't think it's fair to say though that the snow equipment, we didn't have the equipment to remove. I mean, there was like 8-foot walls of ice and snow, and we don't have that type of equipment. We never had that type of equipment. I mean, front loaders, big, huge dump trucks, that these Foligno and all these companies that came in that we paid dearly for, obviously, 1.7 million, is that what we paid? Yeah. So, and that's a lot of money, and we hope not to have to face that again. We hope not to have a storm like that again. But I just want to say, I don't think that portion is from us not funding our fleet. We never really had that type of equipment or that type of capability to remove such ice walls that they were. It was insane. So I just wanted to make my thoughts clear on that. But yeah, non-target, expensive transmission, engine, big time money.
Yeah.
So
Should ask Munhall
yeah.
how they did.
Kevin Schmidt's going to be calling me on that.
All in favor of Amendment 44, please say aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 45.
Increase funding for pool maintenance in the Department of Parks and Recreation at a $184,000 increase in 2026 and a 5-year increase of $920,000.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 45, please say aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 46.
Add part-time pool staff for Oliver Bath House in the Department of Parks and Recreation. This is a $129,177 increase for 2026 and a 5-year increase of $658,931.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Councilman Coghill.
Yeah, this was another one of those surprises that we didn't. It's great that and it's beautiful, the work that they did there, but obviously to be open, we have to have staffed. So the 129,000, and that's part-time. That's just, is that lifeguards, like 3-4 lifeguards throughout the summer or the month, the season?
So no, I think it's I'll have to give you more information on it.
But it's for staffing.
Correct.
That
Yes.
pool, no matter if it's 1, 2, 3 positions, whatever it is. But they're lifeguards.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, no other additional positions for that facility other than the lifeguards. Okay, thanks.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 46, please say aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 47.
Add 1 deputy director of the Office of Youth and Families in the Department of Parks and Recreation at a 2026 increase of $141,708 and a 5-year increase of $724,939.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Councilwoman Gross?
Yeah, I will just say, I've said it before, I'm excited to see a new position, even though, again, we are rearranging the budget and mostly adding to acknowledge expenses that were underfunded, et cetera. This is a new position, but I'm enthusiastic about doing more. Many of us have said over the years that Parks and Rec is one of our most valued departments and still one of the lowest budget departments and just does so much. So I think I had proposed in a previous budget year that there should be another deputy director. The budget was too tight in that year. And so I'm enthusiastic to see one dedicated to youth and families, and I'm eager to see that role filled and see how we might do better and reach more people or create kind of new opportunities across the kind of various divisions of Parks and Rec that we've had for a very long time. As most of you know, we now kind of do more outreach to community gardens and support food, and I'll be talking about that in another budget line here. And because this is our most kind of publicly facing department, it touches the most of our residents. And so I think there's real opportunity to really think about it instead of just the program areas, aquatics here and farmers markets there, to think about it in terms of the kinds of residents that need services and what kind of services do they need and where. So anyway, I'm excited about this one.
Further discussion? Councilmember Warwick.
Yeah, just to echo, I'm very pleased about this position. I think that it aligns obviously with the mayor's goals of a strong focus on youth and families. I'd say sort of to make Pittsburgh every family's first choice, but also for families who are here. I think that, and there are some other amendments that we'll talk about when we get to the trust funds. I will say just for the record, there is currently in the Stop the Violence Trust Fund, city parks can use a limited amount of money from the Stop the Violence Trust Fund for its programming. I personally think that that should be increased, right? There's so much that we can do through city parks, right? So much work for our youth and families to, and especially in communities that are experiencing gun violence, among other things. If we, we've talked a lot about, we've heard speakers talk about, kids downtown after school, and all of these things. And I think that City Parks has a very large role to play in partnership with our community groups who are already doing out-of-school programming and in supporting those groups with resources and even perhaps staffing, and also, of course, with Pittsburgh Public Schools to provide quality alternatives at the end of the school day and in the summer. So I'm very supportive of this role as sort of a launching pad for for those efforts.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 47, please say aye. Aye. Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 48.
This is to add funding to the Department of Parks and Recreation for the new Office of Youth and Families. This is a $50,000 increase for 2026 and a $250,000 increase over 5 years.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 48, please say aye. Aye. Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 49.
Reduce the 2026 grants line item in the Department of Parks and Recreation. This is a $500,000 decrease.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Councilwoman Gross.
Thank you. So I have to ask about this one because we've been tracking it and talking to people in the administration. And I think in the first packet that came over, it was like senior programs and food justice fund. And then when it went on to Legistar, it was like miscellaneous items. And I feel like that's now this, which says grants line in Department of Parks and Rec.
It is the same account.
So it just
it's the
keeps
same
changing
account
its
line.
name though, right?
So, yeah, so there's $1 million, there was $1 million in 2026 in that object account. That's a term that we use in budget, but it's a line item in the budget, and that includes multiple things. And so two of the things that were in that object account were food justice and senior programming. So, but we're taking $500,000 out from that entire line item, not specifically to those programs.
Great. Okay, so that's what we had been told, but I didn't hear it specified how it's breaking out by senior programs or food justice fund, because they're lumped together under the same object, as you said.
Yeah, they're all lumped together under the same account code. And so we're reducing the funding available for everything that's in that account code. So I can't tell you specifically what the impact will be to food justice or senior programs. We still have to look at that and how those monies are going to be divvied up.
So, we supported adding other Parks and Rec, creating new object or budget lines in Parks and Rec for the deputy director, and the spending for the Office of Youth and Families, which would be $142,000 for the deputy director, and $50,000 in spending to go along for that deputy director for that program. Is this reduction accommodating that increase?
Yeah, that is the intent, but this is only a 1-year decrease. Those other expenditures, those are 5-year increases.
No, the deputy director is $142,000 for 1 year. It's a $725,000 5-year impact.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So what we're been told, again, but it's not on paper, is that basically the Food Justice Fund would go down from $500,000 to $250,000.
I don't have the answer to that question today. I can get back to you. So, I mean, our intent is not to completely, we may have to take some money from those programs overall.
But not eliminating either one.
Oh, no.
Okay.
There's no intention to eliminate either
Okay.
one.
I think that's important for everyone to hear. I mean, for council's information, I mean, this is close to 100 signatures on a letter that we got, supporting the full, protect and retain the full 500,000. And there are some impact numbers since all of those monies, the original funds came from our federal relief funds, our American Rescue Plan dollars. And it was less than 1% of the $335 million. There wasn't a penny for food in the first budget. I voted no on the first allocation, in the first year of it. And as we amended the budget, council moved ARPA dollars to create the $3 million grant program that did go out. And it provided already today, it's something like 300,000 pounds of food or hot meals to like various kinds of populations across the city, including seniors, including people with disabilities, including vulnerable populations, including kids. So part of it was to Food Bank, but it was to other organizations that do very similar kinds of work. In addition, I'll talk just very quickly about the support for urban farming that, again, council has supported over the years. Some 5 years ago, the only city resources, employee time, compost, fencing, or supplies or whatever went to only like 4 gardens. And those were our own DPW allotment gardens, that there are only 4 of them across the city. Combining the work that Parks and Rec now does to proactively go out and support community gardens and the Food Justice Fund funding, that was 60 gardens last year. And I feel really good about that. I think we should all feel really good about that. And there are gardens across the city. So we're proactively helping them succeed, basically, and produce more food. So there's new gardens, but we're also just, if you have gardens in your district, you'll know that the number one problem is probably fencing, because those deer eat everything, right? It doesn't really matter what part of your city you're in. Those deer will find that garden. So we've been able to, it's cheap for us. We buy this stuff all the time. And it's not that much money for the amount, again, of citizens that it's touching. So my staff has been working with the department and trying to add up, not just Food Justice Fund, but also the allocations that are being preserved. I'm happy to see are being preserved in Parks and Rec, and the positions and some of the funding. They need a little bit more. They've already expended all of their 2026 funding for fencing and gardens and tools. But they'll lumped together with farmers markets. It touches nearly as many residents as pools, as aquatics. And aquatics has like 30 full-time equivalent employees. And trust me, I am not trying to take a penny away from aquatics, and I would love to put more into aquatics as well. We love our pools, and our aquatics team are amazing, and the jobs that they provide, and the parts of employment and employing and training lifeguards every summer. But we touch nearly as many residents and kind of, I think, add recreation and value with 3.5 full-time equivalents in the food programs, including the Food Justice Fund coordinator. So I think it's really impressive. Again, so like not nearly as expensive as $1 million capital repairs to pools and, 1/10 of the employee costs. So I just want us to not feel bad about the work because it's touching families, it's touching kids, it's touching seniors. There's, thousands of volunteer hours at these kinds of they're not parks, but they are green spaces where people can gather and be together in some of the neighborhoods where they really, really need that because they don't really actually have other spaces that the city is investing in. So I will probably abstain on this today. I will try to be sure that we get some clarification. If the administration is not defunding the Food Justice Fund entirely, I think it would be good to have it clarified on paper.
I can confirm right now, we are funding both programs in 2026.
Great.
So, yes.
Okay.
And also, I just wanted to mention that the ARPA funding for Food Justice, we're not touching that either. So that remains full.
I thought they were fully committed. All of the grants had
Oh,
been.
no, it is fully committed,
Okay.
but even so, there are some projects that even though, yeah, they're fully committed, they probably won't be able to spend the funds by the
Okay.
end of this year. So we will, and you'll see we did have some ARPA amendments. We did move some funding around because we knew we weren't going to fully spend those projects. But ARPA is,
Okay,
food
well,
justice was not one of those.
We can follow up on that. And again, to the advocates that are, I think, correct in their appeals, that we continue to invest. I'm going to just say it. I'll stop after this. That we continue to invest in the food system, right? If we're all paying attention to the war with Iran, we know that fertilizers are stuck in the Strait of Hormuz that American farmers need. So this is planting season, and as American farmers across the nation are planting, especially the vast fields of wheat and corn, they're not going to be able to plant those many acres as they were last year because they are not going to have the inputs that they need to put the crops in the ground right now. So having, this is the kind of thing that we, not just for crises, but also for all of the other, ancillary benefits of having community facilities and having people know each other and create support networks, but also to grow food. I would like us to see us increase, continue this investment and continue this increase in the amount of food that's under production in the city, but also being processed, being warehoused, being moved, being sold, that's locally produced, right? We're investing in not just farms, but in the capacity to grow, preserve, distribute, sell, retail, everything, right? So you can't have a small corner store, which most of us love to have. We want small corner stores in our districts. They can't buy 30,000 units of canned tomatoes from the national retailer. They need small producers to stock their shelves generally. And those small producers need small stores because they don't have 30,000 units to sell. So it's a supporting system that creates more wealth in the city, creates more entrepreneurship, and it's great to be investing in the kind of human capital and in the green space. So, okay, I'll stop there. I could go on.
Thank you. Further discussion, Councilmember Warwick.
So I'm also open to abstaining on these, and I think too, and there's some other amendments down the line that I would ask that members abstain on. I really, just to echo Councilwoman Gross, I feel like there is room for us to increase funding for city parks. It is such critical work that this department does. And I'm not saying that just because I'm the chair of the committee, I'm biased, but it is such critical work, and their budget is so small, and we should be increasing their and I am more than open to amending the Stop the Violence to allow that department to have more funding or, whatever. So I feel like on these Parks and Recs reductions, until there's more clarity, what senior, what is being cut? What funding for seniors and what food funding, et cetera, is being cut? Not to say no, but just to wait and see until we can get more clarity from the administration about their plans. Not to micromanage, but to just sort of understand what the plan is before we kind of say yes to slashing $500,000 from city parks or Parks and Rec.
Further discussion? Okay, so seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 49, please say aye. All
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
Abstain.
Abstentions?
Abstain.
2 abstentions. Thank you very much. Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 50.
Upgrade 1 public information officer to senior public information officer in the Department of Public Safety, Bureau of Administration. This is a $4,341 increase in 2026 and a 5-year increase of $22,160.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 50, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 51.
Move one Assistant Director, Community Affairs to the Stop the Violence Trust Fund. This is a $133,949 decrease in 2026 and a 5-year decrease of $685,275.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve brief discussion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion, Councilman Coghill.
Yes. So we're eliminating a spot that was with Stop the Violence?
No, we're not eliminating anything. We're just moving the funding source. So the position still exists, but instead of being funded by the general fund, it's moving to the Stop the Violence. Wait, sorry, did I get that right?
Yes.
Okay. So,
Yeah, I should have mentioned that you'll also see a corresponding amendment in the trust fund section that's adding this position back. So you'll see an increase there.
Do we have a person in that position?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So the same person is going to stay doing the same thing, but being paid for out of the Stop the Violence Fund rather than our general.
Yes.
correct.
Got it. Okay. Thanks.
Councilwoman Gross.
I'm not the expert at the table, but I thought we couldn't do that. Stop the Violence funds are pegged to the size of the police budget. If the police budget were to double, our contributions originally would have doubled. Now they're capped at $10 million a year. But they were never meant to be spent in the Bureau.
This isn't for a bureau position. This is the Community Affairs and Violence Prevention Office. This is assistant director, as well as the assistant director for OCHS, were previously funded out of Stop the Violence. They were moved in the 26 budget, the budget that you passed, to the Public Safety Administration Bureau. This is moving one of those back.
Okay, gotcha. So it's line item, just for clarification. Line item 51, move one assistant director. Got it. So who do they report to?
They report to the Public Safety Director.
So they are in the public safety org chart.
They are funded under the Stop the Violence Trust Fund and have been previously funded.
But I guess OCHS also reports to public safety director.
Correct.
But they are in public safety, in the public safety org chart, but not in the police bureau org chart.
Similarly, how the city parks employees in the Stop the Violence still report to the Director of Parks and Recreation.
Okay. All right, I gotcha. Thank you.
Council President LaBelle.
I'm going to stay on this one. As we were sitting here, I'm getting slightly ahead of myself, but there's a corresponding, in the administration trust fund amendments, there was a corresponding amendment. And so I tried to quickly do some math on the Stop the Violence Trust Fund. We are removing approximately 1.6 million, 1,600,000, 640,000 worth of positions out of the fund, but we're adding 3,763,000 worth of new positions into the fund, which is a difference of $2,120,000. But the fund also has a cap on how much can be spent administratively. And so my concern is, if we're adding 2 million worth of positions, aren't we up against that cap or potentially exceeding it?
Yes, if it were fully staffed, it would exceed that 40% cap. But due to how vacancies are in the Stop the Violence Trust Fund, we don't anticipate once it's actually staffed that it will exceed that 40%.
Okay. Can you give me a breakdown of that?
Yeah,
so
I
can actually
previously
see
sent
it and
that
understand
to
it?
council budget last week. So yeah.
Okay.
But it's around 46% per year.
Okay.
I was checking when I sent that out to all of you.
I'm not saying you didn't. I
Yeah.
just didn't check it myself. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just going to help you locate it in your emails. It looks like it went to you all on Thursday at 12:56 p.m. If that helps you find it.
Thursday?
Madam Chair.
Councilman Mosley, were you finished, Council President?
If we're at 46%, then we're below the 50% cap, then I feel comfortable voting on these today. I hadn't reviewed what was sent over, so my apologies.
Councilman Mosley.
That number answered my question.
Okay.
I just wondered
Thank you.
How
thank
close
you.
we were to the threshold.
Okay. Thank you. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 51, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Affirmative recommendation. Noes, abstentions? Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 52.
Add one head of wellness position to the Bureau of Police with funding beginning in July 2026. This is a $94,992 increase for 2026 and a 5-year increase of $876,169.
Motion to approve, discussion.
Second. Discussion, Councilman Coghill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. No, I just wanted to say my very first meeting with our Chief Lando, he stressed that he really wanted this position. He said it was really effective for him in Fredericksburg, and for the rank and file they were a little hesitant to adopt it at first, but he said they really embraced it there, and I'm hoping that our police officers do here as well. And he, like I said, he stressed how important he thought it was, and I want to give him every tool he can have to succeed in the way he feels like the direction of the police department goes. So I'm glad that they created the position, is all I'm saying. So thanks.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 52, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 53.
This is to add funding for a new professional development contract in the Bureau of Police. This is a 2026 increase of $103,186 and a 5-year increase of $951,584.
Motion to approve, discussion.
We have a second.
Second. Sorry.
Discussion?
Yeah, the professional development contract. What is that?
It doesn't currently exist, okay? It would be to contract out some like leadership development training for police.
Because Abraham was here just last week, Commander Abraham, and that was, is that tied into this, do you think? Yeah, okay. And that was only like 20,000, but okay, so this is for programs like that.
Correct, yes.
Got it. Non-targeted, specific, just to have for things like that. We know of one at least, so, okay. All right, thanks.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 53, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 54.
Add 2026 funding for retiree dental costs in the Department of Human Resources and Civil Service. This is a $90,000 increase for 2026.
Motion to approve.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 54, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 55.
Add PJCBC union benefit for seasonal laborers in the Department of Human Resources and Civil Service. This is a $324,784.89 increase in 2026 and a 5-year increase of $1,726,747.74.
Motion to approve, discussion?
Discussion, Councilman Coghill.
Okay, this is for part-time laborers for Public Works.
Correct.
Specifically, Public Works.
Yes, and I don't know if this is too much information, but it comes from a 1990 sidebar. You won't find this in the actual CBA, but it's so to allow us the privilege of hiring seasonal employees rather than permanent employees. So we agreed to contribute into for their benefits. So it ends
So
up
this
being,
is not for payroll?
No, it's not for payroll. So it goes into the trust fund that.
So our part-time workers get benefits? Is that what you're saying? Is that what this funds?
Through their union benefits.
Right, yeah, it's through their union, not directly through us, but we contribute to that.
So our part-time laborers become part of the laborers union then?
That's correct.
Ah, okay. Okay. Thanks.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 55, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 56.
Replace the financial systems administrator with an ERP manager with funding beginning in July 2026 for the office of the city controller. This is a $4,083 increase for 2026 and a 5-year increase of $39,240.
Motion to
motion.
approve?
Is there a second? Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 56, please say aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 57.
Replace the controller's clerk with the senior controller's clerk with funding beginning in July 2026 in the office of the city controller. This is a $2,864 increase in 2026 and a 5-year increase of $26,341.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 57, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 58.
This is to add funding for longevity payments for the AFSCME 2719 bargaining group for employees in various departments. This is a $53,500 increase in 2026 with a 5-year increase of $344,000.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 58, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 59.
This is to add funding for medical waivers for PJCBC employees in various departments at a $40,000 increase in 2026 and a 5-year increase of $200,000.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 59, please say aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 60.
This is to add a senior secretary back in city planning and budget neutral throughout the 5-year plan.
So I will note that for Amendment 60 and 61, there has been a request for an amendment to the amendment from the administration to withdraw both of these. I actually do not know the procedure for this particular vote.
I just don't think we read it.
Okay, so we do not, so be aware that there will be, like, this will be reflected sort of accurately and sort of formally in the vote next week as an amendment to the amendment, so.
Sorry. I think on Wednesday we would motion to withdraw it, but today I just think we move past it.
Yeah, it will be like accurately,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
that's exactly what I meant, like, it will be kind of formally, and we'll have to take a vote on that, so. For the purposes of this, I have made you all aware, and we will move now to Amendment 62.
This is to add PAYGO funding to 2028 through 2030 at a $2 million increase per year with a 5-year increase of $6 million.
Motion to approve? Discussion?
Discussion?
My question is just, what exactly does PAYGO, can it be used for, and do we have it earmarked what this specific?
Yeah, PAYGO funding is pay-as-you-go funding, and it's funding that we basically move from the operating budget to the capital budget, and it can fund projects or that have a shorter-term lifespan than most of the projects in the CIP. We often use a large portion of it to fund vehicles.
Yeah. Oh.
So,
right.
and that's what the intent of that $2 million.
Yeah, and it's always things that we need cash on hand for.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Further discussion? I didn't know if you wanted to note, as you have with the others.
Yeah, I did forget to note that this is one of the amendments that's in conflict with the council budget amendment.
I did have a question.
Yes, Councilmember Wilson.
Yeah, the question I have is, where is this money coming from? Is this because the new revenue certification for the payroll tax?
No, this is the money that we were talking about that's coming from EMS's operating budget.
Okay, this is that. Okay, this is that amount. Thank you.
Yes, correct. It's slightly more. It's like $50,000 more than that amount, but yeah, essentially.
Thank you.
Councilmember Warwick.
If the intention's to put it towards vehicles, was there some reason that it wasn't put toward vehicles? Like put in a line item for vehicles now?
Well,
To keep it
do you
flexible?
mean, like, so
In case we want to use it for something that isn't vehicles?
well, the line items, like, we typically use those in the operating budget. The capital budget is more project-based, and we're not, and we put that amount in the pay-go line because that's where the funding will come from. Whenever we do address the CIP in those years, then you would see the deliverables in that project page. But at this point, we're not amending the CIP because those funds don't show up until 2028. So in 2028, like, the intent was, to explicitly outline that amount for vehicles.
Okay.
I know we're speaking about operating here, but was there a $10 million increase to the ELA and the capital budget?
Whenever you amended the budget for at the end of the year?
Yes.
There was.
So there still is a sort of earmarked as much as possible, like $10 million for the ELA in capital.
Yes.
In addition to this, which is less defined,
I mean,
but
these
these
is
can't
in
be
the
defined
out
in the
years.
same way.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes. So yeah, this is not until 2028. So there is no plan, no plan exists for these funds yet.
Councilmember Warwick.
Yeah, but I just want to clarify that in the capital budget, there's 10 million for 2026, but not in the outer years. It's like 2 million, maybe. It's only the money for the leases in the current
That's
in the current
correct.
capital budget. Right.
Right. And we did talk about potentially amending the CIP at this time, but that's not typically something that we do if we're only addressing the out years. So that's the reason why we're not doing that at this time. So, but whenever you would see, whenever we do the 2027 operating budget and 2027 CIP, at that point we would address those out years.
Okay, all in favor of Amendment 62, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstention?
No.
1 no. So noted. Affirmative recommendation. And our final amendment for this section, we do have another section, is Amendment 63.
For 2026, utilize the fund balance to balance the budget. This is a $6,509,739.57 decrease to the beginning reserve balance in 2026.
Motion to approve?
Discussion? Councilwoman Gross.
Right, I'm just going to ask you all to kind of remind us what we said the first time we talked about this when you were giving us the overview, which is that our current fund balance is above the recommended amount of our operating expenditures. I think it's around 17%, something like that. Is that what I recall from was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I believe so. I have so many numbers in my head. I can't keep them straight.
It was less than 20%, but it was more than 10%.
Okay.
And then by reducing it, it especially becomes really close to 10% in the 5-year projection, is what I remember.
Yeah, in 2030, it is 10%.
So we're really nervous about that,
Yes.
but we're still doing it. Can you tell us why?
Okay, yeah, so we have a legal requirement to balance the budget, which means that our revenues and our expenditures have to at least balance. And in order to, so with all of our amendments, our expenditures exceeded the revenues that we're anticipating bringing in. And so in order to make the budget balance, we would have to use a portion of our rainy day fund. And that does not necessarily mean that we are 100% going to use that, okay? Ideally, what would happen is whenever it comes to the end of the year, our expenditures do come under what we budgeted, and we bring in more revenue than we anticipated. Normally, every year, that's typically what does happen. Last year was very different, okay? But going forward, hopefully that will happen. And so we won't actually have to touch the fund balance to bring in that $6.5 million. So, but just to make the budget balance for now, we had to use that fund balance amount.
So, and just to try to recap in my own words what you said, I would call this a more conservative budget than the one we passed in December, because it acknowledges like all of the possible expenditures, right? So not exactly overestimating expenditures, but fully estimates expenditures, and also hopefully conservatively estimates revenue, right? So as opposed to a budget which maybe 2025's was maybe too optimistic on revenue and maybe underestimating expenditures, right? So we're still hoping that maybe we won't actually have to use all of the fund balance drawdown. Is that
correct? Yes.
Okay.
So, but right now, just to make the revenues equal and the expenditures, we had to, take $6.5 million from that rainy day fund.
Right. If you were to just make a guess, I don't think I asked you this last time, maybe I shouldn't even jinx us, but if there was a revenue that was higher than you anticipate in this budget, which part of the revenue would it be, do you think?
Oh, that's a good question. Maybe payroll prep tax. Because of that, we're already increasing
that upticks we saw,
that $8 million because of the weird timing of the bookings this year. So it might actually. So there was actually $12 million that was incorrectly booked to 2026 rather than 2025. But we only increased that revenue source by $8 million. So there is a potential for that full $12 million to show up in 2026. But there's some moving around that the controller's office does. We won't know the full result of that until the ACFR comes out.
I think that's a great example. You're conservatively accounted for the revenue here.
Yes, right.
Yeah. So good. Okay, that answers my question. Thank you. It makes me a lot more comfortable.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 63, please say aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. So now we move on to our administration trust fund amendments. To our council budget director, is there anything you'd like to say before we dive into line by line items?
I don't think so. Just this is going to cover various special revenue funds, so I will try to keep you all on track with which specific trust funds are being amended for each one. Yeah.
Right. Amendment 1. Trust fund amendment 1.
This is to remove one program coordinator in the Stop the Violence Trust Fund. This is specifically a city sports position at a $71,656 decrease in 2026 and a $379,181 decrease over the 5-year plan.
Motion to approve.
Second. Discussion. Councilmember Warwick.
So in my comments here, I'm actually speaking more directly to Amendment 2, which removes a rec leader, but I feel like the two are combined, are related. So last year, we worked with the administration and with Parks and Rec Councilman Smith and myself and Councilman Coghill, right, we allocated funding for, and it was Stop the Violence funding, to pilot after-school programming in Pittsburgh public school buildings, right? Unfortunately, the pilot did not get off the ground in time for the current school year, which would have been last September, right? For various reasons, right? I think in one case, someone was hired and then they kind of backed out at the last minute, you know, these little things that happen. But we committed to the pilot with PPS. We worked closely, at least with two of the schools. One of the schools we had a harder time getting a hold of the principal. And I know at least at the school in my district, we committed to the residents that we were doing this pilot. It was funded, the roles were created, the roles were posted, right? And so it is a program, a pilot program that I feel like we should deliver on. In addition to that, I feel like as a program, it is very much in line with what Mayor O'Connor is interested in doing, which is like increasing out of school time, increasing capacity for out of school time programming for Pittsburgh residents, right? And with it being, in other words, we have the concept was we have rec centers that offer fantastic after school programming. But if you don't have a rec center in your community, you don't have access to that after school programming, which is a gap. And that's why we worked with PPS to identify schools that kind of fell in that category that had no other community-based after school program, and while I don't want to vote no on this, I just want to be sure. I'd like to get some clarity. I think similar to the senior programs, the food. I would like to get clarity from the administration that even though these positions are being removed, that we are still committed to following through with these programs, right, starting in the next school year. It's something that I've discussed with Director Sloan. And so with that, I would ask again, and also because I think there's so much potential. Like if this pilot works, where the city of Pittsburgh can come in to PPS buildings and provide after-school care so that there's a continuum for the kids from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. the same way we do at our rec centers. That would be an incredible partnership, and then we could even build on it further and offer that same programming in the summer, because again, PPS has lost its summer. They used to have the Summer Dreamers program, and that program was cut, but we offer really fantastic summer programming in our rec centers. So again, I think that the potential for this partnership is huge, but we really need we need to prove that we can do it in this small scale first. And I think that if we can do that, and if we can keep our commitment there. So just for these positions, my concern is I'm not sure what the cutting of these positions means for our ability to follow through on that pilot. And that's why I'm asking for if members would abstain on these amendments for now. And I don't want to say no. I'm not trying to, if the plan is, if there's another plan in place, great, super. But I'm not clear on that yet. So that's what my ask to members if they are so willing. So thanks.
Further discussion on Amendment 1? I know we're kind of discussing both, but yeah, or I guess we can. I will open it up to discussion on 1 or 2, but we'll take a vote on 1 first. Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 1, say aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
No. Abstentions? Abstain. I'll abstain as well. One eye. Well, the abstentions have it for the preliminary vote, and we'll take it up next week. Amendment 2.
Remove one recreation leader in the Stop the Violence Trust Fund as part of the after-school program. This is a $58,000, $364 decrease in 2026 and a 5-year decrease of $308,826.
Is there a motion? Okay, without a motion. Oh. Okay. I just want to note Councilman Wilson is registering an aye vote for Amendment 1. I guess without a motion on Amendment 2, the line item.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second? Okay, no second. So the motion.
I'll second.
Okay, there's a second. It was the wish of the council member to abstain on this bill as well. All in favor, please say aye.
Abstain.
Abstain. So
Aye.
1 aye, 5 abstentions. The abstentions have 2 ayes, abstentions have it. So this will be considered as abstained upon until next week. Amendment 3.
Increase 2026 funding for maintenance projects in the Parks Tax Trust Fund at a $500,000 increase for 2026.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Trust Fund Amendment 3, please say aye. Aye. Are there any other ayes, abstentions, noes?
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 4.
This is to increase the Assistant 2 administration position in the 3 taxing bodies trust fund. It's currently 90% funded in the trust fund and I believe 10% funded in the general fund, Department of Finance. This would fully fund it in the trust fund. So this is a $10,510 increase in 2026 and a 5-year increase of $55,831.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Trust Fund Amendment 4, please say aye.
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 Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 5.
Yeah, I guess I'll preface this one that this one covers various trust funds, so it's kind of broken into parts in the administration's amendment. And I believe the administration is also requesting us to amend this kind of technically. So I'm just going to read it as it will be amended. But this is to update all AFSCME 2719 and Teamsters position salaries across various trust funds based on the 2026 agreements. So starting with the Police Secondary Employment Trust Fund, that's a $4,703.15 increase in 2026 with a 5-year increase of $26,284.81. Second is the Community Development Trust Fund, this is a $1,389.51 increase for 2026 and a 5-year increase of $35,768.03. Then the next 2 are the ones that will be amended next week, starting with the Stop the Violence Trust Fund. This is a $398,359.20 increase for 2026 and a 5-year increase of $2,044,829.92. The 3 taxing bodies trust fund will see a $398,359.20 increase for 2026 and a 5-year increase of $2,044,829.92. And then finally, the Parks Tax Trust Fund, which will see a $264.10 increase for 2026 and a 5-year increase of $20,495.33.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve, discussion.
Second.
Discussion?
So number 5 itemizes across various trust funds. But one of them, the D, is the 3 taxing bodies trust fund, which was also amended in number 4, with a $10,500 increase for 2026. And then here, under 5, a $398,000 increase in 2026. So that's a lot.
Wait, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? So you were talking about the assistant.
In number 4,
I think I understand if
it
I
was,
may.
increasing $10,000 in the 3 taxing body trust fund.
So number 4 is increasing a position allotment, a percentage that we pay out of this trust fund from 90% to a full-time position.
So it's increasing the amount of withdrawal from the trust fund
Correct.
by 10,000 or
And
so.
The number that you see in number 4 is isolated to that position change only. What we are reflecting in 5D is the impact that the new AFSCME contract had on all of the positions within this trust fund, which there are multiple in this union.
So those changes in the new contract increased expenditures of the trust fund for 2026 by $398,000.
I think this might be a misprint on this.
Ooh,
yeah,
it's
I
only
think that is such a big
40,000.
number. It doesn't
Yeah.
seem right.
It's only
Yeah.
$40,000 over the 5-year.
Yeah,
Because it
apologies for
reads
this.
398,000.
Yeah,
and you're
sorry,
saying
that's why I
it
was
should be like
confused. Okay.
39,000?
40,000 over the 5-year plan.
Yes.
Well, it says 2 million in the 5-year plan.
Yeah, that's a mistake.
Oh, you know what? I think C and D are.
They're exactly
Yeah,
the
I
same.
think it was replicated from Stop the Violence. But D should be, and we'll make sure this is corrected for next week, but D should be a $9,259.01 increase for 2026 and a $40,232.84 increase over the 5 years.
Did you say just $925?
$9,259.
$259.
Yes.
And no cents.
1 cent.
1 cent.
And 1 cent
Yes.
for 2026.
Right.
Can we do a verbal strikeout then? Motion to amend. And so I guess I'm just asking Kirsten, since you have the number, since you're like being our clerk for us here,
Yeah.
to just change D to the number you just told me, $9,259.01 increase in 2026, and then the 5-year impact to
$40,232.84.
$32.84. Okay, so yeah, motion to change, again, same motion, and then $40,232.84 for the 5-year impact.
Second.
All in favor of the verbal amendment, please say aye.
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 Okay, well, so that's cool. We just saved ourselves $2 million over the 5 years. So the last time I remember I was talking about this in the, at the table, we were up to like $1 million in the 3 taxing body trust fund. Is there $1 million in it right now?
I'd have to double check. Just for clarity, in the amendments, the amount was correct. The amount in this sheet was incorrect. So we don't have an additional $1 million.
No, I was teasing.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, okay.
But it's good to be clear.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
absolutely good to be clear. Sometimes we shouldn't actually make jokes at all because it's not funny. So, but yeah, I'm curious kind of, the reason I mention it is that it wasn't that many years ago that it was $0 in the 3 taxing bodies trust funds. And in our budgets, we had to put general funds into the 3 taxing bodies trust fund. And so it's good that there's money in there to cover what it's supposed to be covering, which is the maintenance of vacant lots and other things that are costs associated with the 10,000 property inventory and are moving it through and whatever we're, the staffing to do the legal work and deal with the school district in the county, et cetera, et cetera. So since these are Teamster positions, I'm assuming, but it's AFSCME and Teamster. So are these kind of like people mowing lawns, or are they like another quarter of a real estate attorney? Like, kind of what all are we paying out of this?
The 3 taxing bodies is only AFSCME positions. The Teamster positions would, for these,
Parks tax.
I think it's just parks tax.
The positions in the 3 taxing bodies, those include the real estate manager, assistant real estate supervisor, real estate sales coordinator, senior assistant real estate, and assistant to administrative. So those are all AFSCME.
So these are positions that are like doing the auctions and
Correct,
maybe
yes.
even kind of supervising, like seeing what the status of the properties
Yes.
are, et cetera, et cetera. Which is good. We were just discussing this morning, kind of moving some of the properties to the land bank for affordable housing development, but also that there was another program that the real estate department and finance are administering themselves and finding buyers. So I assume that these are helpful. Basically, because we didn't have this stuff staffed 10 years ago, we moved far less properties. We're moving more properties, and the more properties we move, the more we fund, those sales fund the 3 taxing bodies trust fund, which is how it was meant to be. It's just that 10 years ago, it really wasn't working. So just keeping an eye on that. I'm glad we caught the typo here, but it's correct on the white pages.
Yes.
It's wrong in the yellow pages. If old people are going to catch the joke here, right? It's wrong in the yellow pages, it was right in the white pages. All right, thank you.
Thank you. And just a note, there are further amendments that the administration wishes to make to C and D, I believe, that are not here, but
So they're on your document. So since this is kind of like a test vote, we're not actually amending today, but I wanted you all to be aware of the technical amendment the administration is making. So that's why you'll see crossing out and the bolding and underline to show the changes. But obviously D is not correct. So you'll have the correct version next week.
Thank you.
all in favor of the amended Trust Fund Amendment 5, please say aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Thank you all. Amendment 6.
This is to update part-time salaries for tennis instructors in the Mellon Park Trust Fund at a $17,084 increase for 2026 and a 5-year increase of $92,860.
Motion to approve?
Second. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 6, please say aye. Aye. Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 7.
This is adding one violence prevention coordinator in the Stop the Violence Trust Fund at a $93,046 increase for 2026 and a 5-year increase of $476,720.
Approve?
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 7, please say aye. Aye. Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 8.
This is adding 5 violence prevention managers in the Stop the Violence Trust Fund This is under the Office of Community Safety and Violence Prevention, but at a $500,465 increase for 2026 and a 5-year increase of $2,563,385.
Motion.
To approve.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 8, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation, Amendment 9.
Yes, and this is the one that corresponds to the operating amendment that we discussed earlier, but this is moving the Assistant Director of Community Affairs from Public Safety Admin to the Stop the Violence Trust Fund. This is a $134,300 increase for 2026 and a 5-year increase of $687,142.
Motion to approve.
Second. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 9, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Affirmative recommendation, Amendment 10.
This is to increase the salary of the Senior Safer Together Project Coordinator in the Stop the Violence Trust Fund. The position would move from a 22G to a 24G, which is a $7,047 increase for 2026 and a 5-year increase of $35,957.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 10, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Affirmative recommendation. Amendment 11.
This is to remove one Stop the Violence coordinator from the Stop the Violence Trust Fund. This is a $93,046 decrease in 2026 and a 5-year decrease of $476,720.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Councilmember Warwick.
So are we looking at just sort of like changes in job titles with some of these? Or maybe change in role a little bit? I mean, just because we're adding positions and removing positions that sound very similar to each other, or could conceivably.
Yeah,
I don't know.
honestly, I'm going to have to get back to you. Or Liz, do you know the details on this?
So for number 11, this is a second position that was added in the 25 budget as part of a position swap. It was ultimately never filled, and so we are now removing it.
Got it. Okay.
All in favor of Amendment 11, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. And our final line item amendment of the day, Trust Fund Amendment number 12.
This is to remove one crime analyst from the Stop the Violence Trust Fund at a $93,046 decrease for 2026 and a 5-year decrease of $476,720.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of Amendment 12, please say aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. That exhausts our special line item reopening, budget reopening line item vote. Are there any further questions or comments? If not, I want to thank everyone who joined us at the table today. Thank you for your work and thank you for answering our questions and your stamina today. Thank you to all council members for joining. We will take a more formal vote on this after the public hearing on the reopening of the 2026 budget. But now we have everything that accurately reflects what we're doing for the public to comment on. So look forward to that next week, next Tuesday afternoon, and a final line item, a preliminary line item vote next Wednesday morning. With that, I'll take a motion to recess this meeting.
So move.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are in recess.